next interviewee of the evening. Let me pull up her information. And that is going to be Lisa Ann Goldsmith. And I have to ask her about the, let's see if I can find her here. Here it is, the Bardcast. Okay, so Lisa Ann Goldsmith and her co-host Owen Thompson, they run a podcast that with a very cheeky title. It's the Bardcast You Dick. And I want to find out where exactly the You Dick part came into. I don't remember which of Shakespeare's plays that line is drawn from, but we're waiting for Lisa to come on to tell us. Meanwhile, you can check out their website. It is thebardcastyoudick.com, and their podcast is available on Spotify, on Stitcher, on Apple Podcasts, and pretty much anywhere where podcasts are found. They recently did a online Zoom presentation of Macbeth. That's still available on their website or on their social media, and that was quite good. And you can check that out. That's all free content. I was actually listening to some of their stuff today as we're waiting for Lisa to. Lisa, if you're having trouble connecting, just while I'm vamping and waiting for you to. Okay, so the Bardcast is unable to join. So Lisa, if you're on a laptop, on a desktop, that's not going to let you. Oh, here we go. View requests, go live. Okay, let's see if it works that way. Sometimes Instagram Live is.
There we go.
Lisa, I've got you.
Hi.
How are you? Okay, you're frozen. So I don't know if it's a connectivity issue or what the situation might be, but we are trying to connect with Lisa Ann Goldsmith of the Bardcast You Dick, and apparently her internet connection is taking offense to the fact that her podcast is titled as such and is giving her some connectivity issues. Lisa, we'll try again. I'm going to close it out. I'm going to try with it one more time. If not, we'll come back to you in a couple of moments. Let's see. We will try one more time. Let's see if I could do it this way. Let's try this way. Okay, let's try it like this. Okay, and again, this is Lisa. Do we have you now?
Yes. Can you see me?
We had you for a second, but then we lost the connection. So I think we're good now. All right. So
Good,
Lisa.
Cool. Hi.
Hi. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Anytime I have a chance to sit and chat with Shakespeareans, I'm a happy camper. So tell us, Lisa. Now, before we get to your podcast, and it's a very fun title. When I put up the information kind of promoting tonight's event, I started to get emails and calls from all over the place saying, oh, you have Lisa Ann Goldsmith on. She's so great. I saw her in here and I saw her in there.
Oh my
It seems like you're like crisscrossing the country. Are you like a one person like touring Shakespeare across America? What's going on?
I have a wide reach. Can we only do two of us on Instagram Live?
Yeah, so unfortunately, we're not going to be able to ask Owen to join us tonight. We'll ask him to join us next time around, next time you guys have an event coming up. But unfortunately, yeah,
Cool.
Instagram Live is only conducive to one-on-one discussions.
My partner in crime. Yes, I have a wide reach.
Okay, so yeah, someone was contacting me from Arkansas, and I have some people on Long Island and some people elsewhere in New York.
Yeah.
It seems like you have spread the joy of Shakespeare all over the place. But
all over the place.
Where are you? You're in Pittsburgh right now, right?
I am. I actually have a residence in Pittsburgh, which is where I've been since the pandemic started.
Okay. But you were primarily working in New York before that, right?
Yeah, I'm a New Yorker, born and bred, Tri-Borough baby, Brooklyn, Queens, Manhattan.
Okay, so you're quarantining in Pittsburgh, and in the coronavirus in the Zoom era, I've been paying attention to some of the stuff you and Owen do with the Bardcast and with everything else, and you guys are very prolific. You guys are putting out podcast episodes, I think, every couple of weeks, and you have all kind of other content that you're doing. What has the pandemic era been like for you?
So the full name of the podcast is the Bardcast. It's Shakespeare You Dick, and there's a story about that.
Right.
And Owen and I, at the beginning of the pandemic, would get on Skype and just bemoan the fact that the world has completely shut down, and inevitably we would start talking about Shakespeare. And we said we should just do a podcast and get on and do what we do. So we started the podcast, and then at the same time, we also decided that we had a group of friends, wonderful actors, who weren't doing anything but sitting in their homes. So we started a Shakespeare Sunday series, and it was very, very casual. We would just get a bunch of our amazing friends to read a play on Zoom. And as that kept going on, and people would invite their friends or their wives or their parents or whoever, people started asking us, why don't you guys do this for a bigger audience? And so we decided, why not? So that's how we came up with our first live stream of Macbeth.
Okay. And that was a couple of weeks ago, and
Yeah.
that was a really great production. I was just checking that out
Thanks.
a couple of days ago, and that was a really, really good, solid stuff. And you have, I think it's about 15 or 20 episodes of the podcast as well at this point.
We just dropped our 20th episode. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So tell me about the title. How did it come out about
Okay.
being?
So Owen and I were both actors at the New York Renaissance Festival, and many, many years ago, they always do Shakespeare there, where if you pay a ticket to come into the fair, you can come see this live equity, amazing professional actor Shakespeare. Well, they were doing As You Like It, and there were a couple of biker guys sitting in the front row, and about 15-20 minutes into the show, they got up during the show and started walking out. And and everybody's noticing, everybody in the audience, everybody on stage, and as they're walking out, the first biker turns back to the other guy and goes, "What the hell was that?" And the second biker goes, "What the hell was that? It's Shakespeare, you dick."
So your whole company's identity is a riff
Yeah.
on a joke between a couple of bikers.
Yeah.
That's
And that's one
fantastic.
of the things we try to do on the podcast. I mean, we talk about a lot of different subjects, but we always make sure that our audiences, not that we dumb it down, but, like our very first episode was Filthy Shakespeare, because when they make you read Shakespeare in school, when they make you read Romeo and Juliet in ninth grade, they don't tell you about all the dick jokes.
Absolutely. I was just listening to episode today. It was all about that. It was about the puns and about some of absolutely. It's
Yeah.
people think that Shakespeare is all highfalutin. You have to have a master's degree to understand Shakespeare. And the reality of it is that perhaps the biggest segment of Shakespeare's audience was the groundlings. It was the common man that came in and paid just a few cents to come in and drink ale and laugh and
Yeah.
shout and hoot and holler and have a
And
great
they
time.
loved it. They loved the fart jokes and all of that kind of
Absolutely. A lot. There's a lot, and there's a lot, lot of it out there.
stuff.
So before you guys started the podcast and everything else, and the Zoom era version of your interactions with Shakespeare, I think you guys had the Protean Players. Is that right?
We had a Protean Theatre company in New York, and we had done a bunch of stuff, fictitious history. We had done a production of The London Cuckolds, which is never done, which is an amazing play with some amazing actors, Elizabeth Richmond and Jeff Gerner and Michael Daly. We had our own version. Owen is an amazing director. He had a friend who was French, and he had his own translation of Moliere's The Doctor in Spite of Himself.
Oh wow.
And we did
Hmm.
that, yeah.
How did you and Owen connect in the first place?
So Owen and I, we met at the Jekyll and Hyde Club in Manhattan.
Oh, I remember that place.
We should have known each other way before we did,
Hmm.
but we immediately became like besties and brother and sister, and have kept that up all the way through. We think alike. We both have a thing about Bugs Bunny, and he showed me the first time I'd ever seen Army of Darkness was with Owen, and I just cried laughing. Just 'cause I
Well, you
love
guys
the
have a
man
wonderful
from
rapport.
Scars.
You have a wonderful ease with each other and wonderful rapport with each other. So it's really fun to listen to in the podcast, and even just watching the Macbeth that you guys did, you could see that the comfort that you guys have with each other and the comfort you guys have with the material. You guys are very expert with Shakespeare. You did some teaching at some point, right?
Yeah. I've taught it. I've taught at Carnegie Mellon, Point Park, Fordham University. Owen has taught at Marymount. I've taught Shakespeare First Folio technique for probably 14 years now. You know, I privately coach Shakespeare. Yeah.
Okay, for anyone in our audience who is new to Shakespeare, just like in like 2 sentences, what's the difference between first folio and non-first folio Shakespeare?
So if you're looking at first folio, it looks like F's or V's and U's or V's, and the type looks all weird, and words have extra E's at the end, like the word green would be Greene instead of Green. The folio is technically or thought to be the first time that it was ever written down. Like the first time Shakespeare did the play, that was when it was written down. And the quarto is written down by other people, so it's kind of what they remembered.
Right.
So a lot of the punctuation is different. There's capitalization in the first folio that isn't in the quartos, you know, and all of those can be used as tools to understand the emotion of the character and what Shakespeare was wanted you to do with the text, how to paint the text.
Absolutely, absolutely. So now that I was mentioning in the early part of the program that in New York they're announcing that theaters are going to be allowed to return to 33% capacity, and it seems like there's some glimmer of hope that people are going to start to get back out there and put some things back in a in-person format. Is that something that you guys have on the horizon, or are you guys going to stick into the Zoom format for the time being?
I think for the time being, we're going to stick to the Zoom format because we feel like we have a lot to master with the Zoom format. Owen has done an amazing job with Macbeth, with the backgrounds and the special effects. You know, we had a friend of mine who's a digital media person, you know, help us with like the rotating dagger and stuff like that. But ultimately, of course, we want to get back. We want to get back into rehearsal with people in a theater. You know, there's nothing like that one-on-one connection. You can't feel the energy in a Zoom performance the way you can in a live theater.
Absolutely. But I have to say, given the limitations of Zoom and all of that, what you can't do in the Zoom format, there is so much that you can do, and you can catch so many wonderful things like the presentations from your company and the very, very humorous, and it's, you know, I think you even say it in some of your press materials that a lot of podcasts are, you know, very academic or very kind of dry, and they don't really have a very fun approach to Shakespeare. and if there's one defining quality I would say about your podcast is that it's very, very fun. It's like listening to a couple of old buddies joking around and schmoozing about Shakespeare. And I think that's really what it is. Yeah. So if people want to have a good time with Shakespeare and learn a thing or two along the way, I highly, highly recommend that they check out your podcast. It's the Bardcast. It's Shakespeare You Dick, spoken by their bikers in the Ren Fair, and they can find, what's the website they can find it at?
www.thebardcastyoudick.com, but we're on Apple, Google, Stitcher, Spotify, all of that. And we're going to be doing our next live stream is going to be As You Like It, and that's going to be April 23rd and 24th. All of that information will be on all of our social media and on our website.
Fantastic. And hopefully we'll connect with Owen at that time, and he'll give us all the details about that. All right, fantastic. Lisa, and it's been a pleasure chatting with you. Good luck, and we'll look forward to more podcasts.
Take care.
All right. So that was Lisa Ann Goldsmith of the Bardcast. It's Shakespeare You Dick. I highly recommend you guys check that out. It's a fun podcast, but it's very informative. You know, they really know their Shakespeare. If you want to brush up on your Shakespeare, that's the way to go. Let us invite on our final